Hey guys, it's Eric Code, and in today's video I'll be showing you how you can create mobile buttons inside of Roblox Studio. You can do this through two different methods, using your own GUI, or you can also use context action service. I'd recommend watching this tutorial all the way through because this is a very customizable thing, and because of that it will vary for you, so you can't just copy and paste the model all over the place. However, I will leave those in the description as well as in my Discord. There are two ways we can achieve mobile buttons inside of Roblox Studio. We can use context action service, or we can use custom GUI. And the comparison right now is on the screen, and I'll also leave timestamps in the description to which one you prefer. So here we are in the place. It's just basically a standard base plate. I haven't really changed anything inside of the workspace other than this animation, or this character model. I've also added a bindable event and a screen GUI inside of replicated storage. A bindable event is a game object which allows two scripts of the same type to communicate with each other. I've also made two scripts inside of starter character scripts which basically differentiate and create the different mobile buttons. I'll go through the custom GUI first. So inside of replicated storage you'll see the screen GUI which I've made, and inside of it you'll see a frame and two different buttons. Inside of the buttons they have the same exact script, as you can see. All it does is it sends a message, or fires the bindable event, which is mobile button in this case, and it passes in the variable name, the name of the button. This is useful later. So now we're inside of the emote handler custom GUI. We basically have just standard player variables as well as standard services. Next we have emotes, because this is what I'm deciding to make the mobile support on. And we also have the bindable event, which is the .mobile button, as you can see here. Well, these two are just functions that play the animations. These aren't very complicated at all. You can take a read if you want right now. But basically, the really important part for mobile GUI is this bindable.event connect. This basically catches the signal from this, this script, and when the signal is sent, remember we send the name of the button, we catch it here and we can reuse the mobile button's bindable event instead of having to create multiple for different ones. So here we check if the action name, or the name that's passed, is equal to emote1, which in this case, when we're firing from this script, it is. If it is, then we play animation 1. It's as simple as that. Next, to make the GUI actually appear for the player, what you'll have to do is you'll have to use uis.input_began or some sort of UIS service. I've used input.user_input_type, and we've detected it as touch. Then we check if the GUI is equal to nil. If it is, then we make the GUI equal to mobile buttons, but as a clone, and we set its parent to the player's GUI. We use this if statement to just reduce duplication and reduce clutter on the player's screen. Next, we check if that player is not using touch anymore, so let's say a keyboard. If so, we destroy the GUI if GUI exists. And yeah, that's basically how you can create mobile GUI to appear using a custom GUI. So we can also use context action service to create mobile buttons. Here I'm in this standard starter character script, as you can see, and the only thing that's changed from the variables are those context action service. This is just here so it's easier to write out later. So these two functions are exactly the same, and then we also have uis.input_began. This function is changed quite a bit actually. Inside of this if statement and inside of the first bracket we check if the user input type is equal to touch. If so, then we want to use context action service to create a button or bind a button, as it says here. We're going to give the button a name, which is this name or this string, and we're going to tell it to do this function, play anim1, as you can see, we're passing in play anim1 here. Next, we have to say if the player is on mobile, do you want some button GUI to show up? And for that, we want to say true because we want to create mobile buttons. This next bit is optional, but I've made gamepad or controller buttons for this, as you can see button X, and I've also done the same for emote 2 and just a different button here as well as a different function. Next, context action service has quite a catalogue of inbuilt functions, and I'll leave the documentation inside of it in the description. So context action service, it uses set position as well, and it basically sets the positions. We want to grab the button, we want to change the position off, and for that we want to change emote 1 position. Then we need to pass in the actual position. But what is a UDIM2? It's what Roblox uses for position and scale. As you can see, position is just 2 curly brackets, and there's 4 values inside of here. There's 4 values inside of these. The first 2 here are X, the next 2 are Y. This one is scale, this one is offset, and this one is scale, and this one is also offset. Next, we use set image to basically set the image. All we need to pass in is the name of the button, which is emote 1, and the image which we've declared here as this image. This has to be an image ID. You can just grab one from the toolbox, as you can see, using decals or maybe even your own that you've uploaded. Next, we can use context action service set title. What this basically does is it sets the title of the button and it allows text to be on the button. We need to pass in the actual button name, and we also want the text here. Next, just to make life easier for other developers and more niche stuff like anchor points or modal or interactable or layout order, you want to use context action service get button, because context action service doesn't actually provide the utilities to change background transparency, layout order, or Z index. So for that we have to use get button. This basically returns the actual button we have, and then using this variable we can change its properties, which is these. Next, for use if we check if the player is using a keyboard. If so, then we want to destroy the buttons using unbind actions, and we need to unbind emote 1, which is that button. So yeah, that's it for context action service. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and sorry for the late upload. I think it's been about 2 months since I last uploaded, and since during that time we've managed to hit 700 subscribers, which is honestly kind of insane, going from 500 to 700 in 2 months. I'm really liking where this is going, and if you guys have any other video ideas, let me know. I'll probably try and upload more over the summer, so yeah. Well, that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.